Hey, what is up, everyone? I'm going to talk about Bitcoin in 2026. What can we do to strengthen the asset and strengthen the network and educate others and all that good stuff? So, I'm really excited because 2026 is a new year. I love New Year's because it's my favorite holiday. It lets me reflect where I've been, where I want to go, kind of all the progress I've made and where I've fallen short over the year. And I think we can do that with all areas of our life, including with Bitcoin. So I think the most important thing we can do is practice what we preach. So I know a lot of people, they talk about Bitcoin and how it's such a great asset and they've generated a lot of returns on it, but oftentimes they end up not holding it in self custody. They're just buying an ETF, which is just a claim on the Bitcoin. It's not actually real Bitcoin. So I think we need to practice what we preach more, stand behind what we believe in, and hold the real asset, not the fake ETFs, not the treasury companies, not the altcoins and shitcoins, like the real Bitcoin in custody. The next thing, and I know that this is hard, and you need a computer and you need the right resources, but running a full node. By running a full node, we're going to actually help to contribute to the decentralization of the network, the security, the validation of the network. And that's one of the big premises of Bitcoin, right? When we're using Bitcoin, it's not just something where we're buying it for number go up. We want it to be a future money for the world, and I think that's one of the core premises that Bitcoin takes. I think it's also important on that note that we actually take a stance on this whole knots debate versus core. We have the core industrial complex, we have knots, and then there's maybe other solutions out there too. And we need to take a stance on what we think is right for Bitcoin and like spam and filters and all that stuff. So really running a node and taking a stance on these issues is important, not just buying it, forgetting about it, because at the end of the day, things can take a wrong direction if we don't stay involved. Another one that I really like is using Bitcoin as a payment method. So travel to different countries. I mean, go to Switzerland, go to El Salvador, go to places where you can spend your Bitcoin. And here in the United States, go to btcmaps.org. You can actually see all the vendors in your area that accept it. Square rolled out the ability to conduct payments as well. We can share that. We can share this with others, and we can do the spend and replace method with Bitcoin as well. So I think using Bitcoin and Bitcoin's number will go up, right? If it does go up, it'll be more valuable in the future, and you'll kick yourself for spending your Bitcoin. But I urge you to use it as an education, like as a conversation starter, and then just replace it. If you spend $25 at the coffee shop, buy $25 immediately of Bitcoin. And so it's just spending and replacing. You're going to spend that money anyways. Just spend and replace it. The next one is I've been to a lot of David Bailey's conferences, but go to Bitcoin conferences. There's a lot of excellent conferences around the world. Like in BTC Prague was awesome. There's the Honey Badger conferences, the ones in El Salvador, the Lightning ones. Go to the different conferences and get that variety of opinion from others. Don't just go to the BTC conference in Vegas with Bailey. There's a lot of other places that are very nice as well that you can check out. And then supporting on Geyser open source work. Like there's a lot of great projects that help with Lightning and self-custody, education, and circular economies. Like there's a lot of things we can do with our sats to help support and promote the network. And I think it's important that we do that. So don't just talk about helping. Just send 100 sats, send 1,000 sats, send 10,000 sats if you can, and this will do really good work for many different people. And then educating on what really matters. Like in the end, we are self-sovereign individuals. We want to move to a harder money. We want to weed out this intermediary, the rent seekers, and live in a world where we don't need permission to send money from point A to point B. We don't get questioned from point A to point B. And we want to save in something that doesn't melt underneath us, right? So we want to focus on what matters, the real things. Number go up is great, but number go up, if you had number go up, but it's a permissioned government nanny state token, would you really want that? Maybe you would just in the short term, but in the long run, it would be a dystopic state, right? So focusing on that harder money aspect and just being able to be permissionless in your spend is huge. I think policies in government are huge too. Like Bitcoin policies are something we need to try to advocate for. Like, of course, Bitcoin doesn't need the government, but it doesn't hurt to nudge along de minimis tax things, and to try to see if we can push certain policies in the right direction. Remember, the pendulum always swings. So we had Trump, which was pro-Bitcoin, get elected, but just 4 years ago we had Biden, and he was very anti-Bitcoin. In 2028, by the way things are looking, we may see another nanny state socialist Democrat in office, and we need to be planting and laying the groundwork now for this friendly legislation, not down the road. I think being more involved is huge too. Like, we got to speak more openly about all these controversial issues in the network, because like, we got to call it the bad companies like Naka. Or the companies that are just trying to make a quick buck and leave. Like, we need to do what's right for the betterment of the network and BTC, not shareholder interest. Shareholder interest is just, it's such a high time preference. It's just such a thing where, people issue themselves their own shares, and then people do whatever they can to just pump it up, right? We need to be more involved on the actual meat and bones of Bitcoin, not just, oh, this is going to make this person richer, or these group of people richer, or me richer, even if it makes you richer, but it's morally wrong. Is that right? I mean, we can get in a whole debate on that, but we got to be more involved. And then be with families, be more based. I think there's a lot happening now in the space. I think it is great to see how Bitcoin can change our lives for the better and allow us more freedom with our families. I think now is the time we can strengthen the asset. So overall, in a nutshell, I really encourage everyone to think about these things. I mean, for the longest time, I've put off running a Lightning node. I've done things that, like buying treasury companies, that I've regretted. And I think now it's the year of being real and doing what's right, not, beating around the bush and doing more of the same. It's like, hey, let's confront the things that actually matter, right? That's what we need more of in this society. That's why our society has fallen so far from grace, in my opinion, is we're not telling things like they should be. We're not calling things out as they are, whether it's the corporate slot bowls food that we're eating, or the horrible inflation, or the private equity owned everything, or the home shortages, or even Bitcoin, where we're seeing it going in a potentially dark direction. We just got to call it out at face value. There's people that are just trying to enrich themselves, guys. That's how the world works. I mean, people are always going to try to enrich themselves at the expense of others, and it's just important to call it out, because at the end of the day, we're going to live with the consequences of this, whether it's Bitcoin facing a dark time, or whether it's, whether it's our food supply going to crap, or whether it's we don't have kids anymore and we need to bring in the third world to take care of us when we're older. I don't know, but there's a lot of things we need to confront, face on, and Bitcoin is one of them. And I think we can do a lot to strengthen the asset, and I hope we do. But I hope that this list really gives you some good ideas of what you can do to help. And the one thing I wanted to bring up, going to Bitcoin meetups, that's a really, really, really good thing. I've gone to a few. I'm going to keep doing that. But it's great because you meet other people. You can talk and ask questions. And if you're a social person, that's the way to interact with Bitcoin, rather than just sitting on a YouTube video and watching, an influencer talk about it. You can talk to someone that has in person over a beer, So Some pretty cool stuff. Anyways, guys, I hope you have a good start to your new year, and hopefully you comment, rate, subscribe, like, and I will catch you in the next one.